What's happening with Ubisoft? It feels like I have not heard anything negative about them in a couple of days, and that is just not right. Something is very sus.
Anyway, today we're gathering once more to talk about Ubisoft, where the situation is flipping in real time and it just keeps going and going. We're talking about an update on Splinter Cell Remake, but also Ubisoft getting sued.
I don't think anyone's gonna care about Splinter Cell.
We're also talking about Ubisoft having a strike at their Milan studio. It's still not looking great for...
Oh yeah, the strike at the Milan studio. The French are doing what they do the best, not work.
For the Ubi team. So we're going to talk all about that here and now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, like I mentioned a few videos ago, like we're just on this Ubisoft train now. We're seeing where it heads. Maybe it stops with the Shadows release. Maybe it gets...
Yeah, it's not gonna stop. Boys, you know on which train you are. We're on the train to see if Matty ever stops shilling. Probably not would be my guess.
It's worse. I don't know, but I'm here to talk about it. So consider subscribing if you're into that stuff. Let's start off at the top with a little bit of lighter news, right? It's been a lot of doom and gloom, so let's start off with some more uplifting things, like the Splinter Cell remake. It's still happening. This comes from Insider Gaming, who has every scoop known to man when it comes to Ubisoft. Whoever is leaking to them is leaking a lot their way. So let's start off here. They write, the Splinter Cell remake is making progress at Ubisoft despite rumors that the game has been quietly canceled. Insider Gaming has learned that the game is being developed under the codename North. In addition to the codename, sources have confirmed that the game is being built in...
Is anyone excited for the Splinter Cell remake, honestly? I don't know.
The Snowdrop engine. Previous Splinter Cell games used Unreal Engine 2 and 2.5. Snowdrop has been used to develop games like Tom Clancy's The Division 2, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and...
Oh no! Avatar Frontiers of Pandora and Star Wars Outlaws. Oh no! Frontiers of Pandora is just bad enough with Star Wars Outlaws? Oh, wow. That is one incapable engine. I'm pretty sure you can't do anything but the most generic crap on this engine. It is just so bad.
And Star Wars Outlaws. Sources have suggested that a release date could come in 2026, but didn't want to be held to that time frame, meaning it could be longer, maybe even shorter if we're lucky. So yeah, with everything going south with Ubisoft, and as we covered in our last Ubisoft update, they're going all in on Assassin's Creed games, with like 10 in the next 5 years of all different...
Yeah, I talked about it. Short summary about the 10 Assassin's Creed games. Someone in the finance department is looking at this. They know it's a sinking ship. So they want to just buff their CV up by a lot, because in the short term, these massive amounts of Assassin's Creed games is going to increase profits by a substantial margin. AKA, he's going to be able to claim on his CV, I worked at Ubisoft. I made them make 30% more money on the projects that I was working on through my stuff that I said that needs to be done. Now, the obvious problem here, in the long form, that's going to kill Ubisoft. So, this is why I only respect business analysts. Because we are the bread and butter of this world. The unsung heroes that kill or be killed.
Different sizes and scales and platforms. Still, they're going in on that. Many people are wondering, with a lot of projects that have been in limbo over at Ubisoft. Splinter Cell Remake is one of them, announced like 3 years ago. Of course, the famous one is Beyond Good and Evil 2. I think that's one that if Ubisoft nailed, it could kind of optically get them back on track a little bit of like, hey, it was worth the wait, but can it be worth the wait after this long of a time? I don't know. But hey, you got the anniversary edition out now, so I guess you can go play the original again for the millionth time if you'd like to. But nonetheless, we have Splinter Cell Remake here. I see Snowdrop engine. I'm excited about it on a visual front. I have questions about stealth gameplay within this engine. I know it doesn't define all that. It's really up to the developers to build a feature set for it. But I look at Star Wars Outlaws, not good stealth. It was an engine built with third-person shooting in mind, which of course we have Splinter Cell doing a lot of that.
I mean, the irony that the engine that's designed to create third-person shooting does stealth better than third-person shooting when it's not designed to do that is beyond me.
Particularly in Blacklist, there was a lot of that. But I just hope that it's really back to the roots of like, remember when Splinter Cell introduced like the darkness meter and you could hide in the shadows? And I hope it's as freeform as what Blacklist introduced, in that I don't think there's many rivals to me personally in modern stealth level design than what Arcane has done with the Dishonored series and then eventually Prey. Just top level stuff that still in the level of interactivity and creativity has yet to be surpassed for me. But Splinter Cell Blacklist came mighty close in 2013. That was a great video game. And honestly, I'm a bit of a Splinter Cell noob. I played Pandora Tomorrow growing up. I remember playing the Xbox demo for it as well. But otherwise, I am totally in the dark outside of a couple of entries in this series. But I was very much looking forward to this remake. Happy to know it's happening. But also, we know it's going to be a while before we get that one. You're going to get your Black Flag remake before you get Splinter Cell remake. So keep that in mind.
Oh no, Black Flag, the good days of Ubisoft, okay?
Next up on the list here,
Unironically, even Black Skull and Bones is one of your best games in the past however many years. Oh no. The Black Flag remake is happening at some point, probably. That's the only thing that has made money for Ubisoft in God knows how long at this point.
Defiance. This is the interesting crossover first-person shooter from Ubisoft.
It's literally dead, and they're shutting it down.
That was designed to be a Call of Duty competitor, and the rumor started off here on Twitter where Sean Weber said that X-Defiant is already dead. The Ubisoft research team is actively asking their testers to have another in-house test session and give/repeat their feedback. Multiple sources told that it's possible that the game will end its support after Season 4 if they can't get enough players, which was then scooped up, put on Reddit. That gained a lot more traction. Then it was put up on Game Rant, who I swear would actually report on me taking a dump in the middle of my front lawn if they wanted to. They report on friggin' everything. And then after this, Mark Rubin, who is an executive producer at Ubisoft, who works on X-Defiant, had this to say. To be crystal clear, there are no plans to shut down after Season 4. I've literally been in meetings as of last week to discuss our Year 2 plans, but right now we are super focused on improving the...
What's the point? It's dead. No one cares no longer about this game. It came out, it was a buggy fucking shitty mess. People had more problems with it than anything, and there you go. Kind of case closed type of situation.
The technical experience, which includes netcode, and adding more content for Seasons 3 and 4. We have done very little marketing, so yes, our numbers are down, but that is just to give the team the time to get...
You don't need marketing when you make a good game. Fortnite had no marketing, it took over the world. Call of Duty has, well, actually Call of Duty has marketing, ironically, but it probably doesn't need it, if we're being honest. Baldur's Gate 3 did not have any marketing. It took over the world. Mark Rubin, you're an idiot.
Get the game in a better place before we do bigger spends on marketing to bring new players to the game and to bring back players that have left. Oddly transparent and very much an admission of defeat, I hate to say it, and that's not from the hateful standpoint. I actually think X-Defiant's pretty good. A lot of ex-competitive Call of Duty players...
Of course you would say that, because you think shit on a stick is good at this point, because you're afraid to speak out against people who pay your bills.
Helped with this game in testing. In fact, a former Call of Duty pro in Aches.
It's so sad when people get their when people get their literal everything from being, oh yeah, this is positive, and then because things get really negative because companies start losing out, they can't say negative things about it because then they're not gonna get sponsorships, then they're not gonna get flown out to places. It's really just the most awkward thing ever. They don't even have the ability to call dirt.
Went to go and work on this game directly, and I feel you can feel his hand in this pretty strongly, because this game I thought felt really good to play at launch. Like, I know a lot of people go, oh, it's a COD clone, but very few games do the COD clone well in the terms of game feel. I think of it a lot like Persona, where a lot of games have tried to do social gameplay, but no one gets the flow quite like Atlas. So I thought X-Defiant felt good to play. I thought that the meta eventually got a little stale. Like, nothing was evolving, nothing was changing. Content rollout was a little bit slow, but the map design was good, which is priority number one for me in multiplayer first-person shooters like this. I know how bad it can get when you have something like Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare, as far as I'm concerned, with the way movement works, and it's combined with very small...
You know, what's my favorite part about COD? It's the fact that all of the compilations of the best players is literally someone getting like a 7-kill streak, and maybe one of those 7 people that gets killed even reacts to the fact that someone's shooting at them, because typically it's from the side or back, and that's it.
Small scale maps where you're spawning behind people constantly. World War II is another one that I didn't think had great maps, but people will disagree with that. To each their own. I just think map design is key, and I thought Defiant had that in spades. So there was a lot there I really liked. Time to Kill felt good, and also I thought the whole crossover idea of just bringing Ubisoft IP into this first-person shooter was kind of neat. Like, I just like the whole idea behind it. So yeah, I enjoyed my time with Defiant. I hope it gets back on its feet, because it's one that I think, you know, out of all of the clones out there, I think the name sucks, and that might have put some people off, because naming is so much more important than I think developers give it credit for. But yeah, Defiant is definitely worth a look when it.
Yeah, it sounds like someone's just pissed on Elon Musk again for making Twitter free.
Starts to get back on track, but saying like we're waiting to market until this thing is, you know, worthy of playing again is kind of a weird way to frame things, because that's how I'm receiving it, at least. But also just counting on the idea of like when we market it, people will show up is pretty bold in today's live service market, where,
you know, someone's playing Defiant and they decide, hey, I want to join Defiant community, and they write Defiant on Twitter, and they're like, I'm gonna cut, you know, the first and second post out, I'm gonna cut off my penis because I want to defy Elon Musk's new X. Oh, great community, 10 out of 10.
I mean, every single month there's a new game on the market. Obviously only certain ones catch a major wave, catch the zeitgeist, that sort of thing, but still, I hope things work out for the best for them, right? Next up, what we got here is Ubisoft being sued, allegedly for sharing Ubisoft Store and Ubisoft Plus user data with Meta, as reported by.
Dude, Facebook is such a shithole, by the way. And there's this new thing where the Veritas stuff. Wait, oh no, I'm sorry, not Veritas, but O'Keefe Media Group. It's now because Veritas decided, hey, we're gonna take that Soros money and we're gonna get rid of James O'Keefe, and bam, they don't exist any longer. Okay, so dude, losing them for such a long time because James O'Keefe had to rebuild is just, man, I was just sad. And well, now there was recently this thing where the Zuck and Cuck is obviously in bed with the Democrats, and he's literally hiding almost all posts that are negative about Kamala, and that's hilarious. So yeah, Meta buying someone's data, not even a surprise.
By Bloomberg Law, this comes from Video Game Chronicle. The class action complaint.
That lizard can try his best to try and pretend that he's a human, but he's a lizard and everyone knows it.
Accuses Assassin's Creed publisher of sharing personal identifiable information, or as we'll call it moving forward, PII, with Facebook company Meta. According to the complaint, players who use Ubisoft's website to buy a game on the Ubisoft Store or subscribe to Ubisoft Plus are having their PII sent to Meta through its Pixel user tracking software. The defendant does not disclose on the website that PII users personally identifying information would be captured by the Meta platforms. Tracking Pixel utilized by defendant and then transferred to Meta, thereby exposing the subscriber's PII to any person of ordinary technical skill who received that data. Data sharing policies for a service or subscription is an important factor for individuals deciding whether to provide personal information to that service. The lawsuit has currently not yet received class action certification, but the plaintiffs are seeing a trial by jury and want financial compensation for everyone affected, as well as a court order instructing Ubisoft to either remove the Pixel from its website or get consent from its users before it shares their PII. So yes, while it's raining criticism on Ubisoft,
you know what's one of the biggest lies that these big platforms try to push? Oh, what's the point of asking people if they want to share their data? Because everyone's just going to share it anyways. No one cares. And the moment they actually started adding things like that, where you could opt out of sharing your data, everyone instantaneously, like 90% of people instantaneously were like, fuck you, you're not getting my data. I don't care that I only look at cat pictures here. You're still not getting my data.
Ubisoft, they're getting sued. You know, the saying always proves to be true. When it rains, it pours. Just continues.
If Ubisoft gets sued, they have literally no chance. Again, Ubisoft is already dead. Ubisoft is without question already dead with Assassin's Creed Shadows, Star Wars Outlaws, and all of this garbage. But getting sued on top of this is just... Let's actually look at Ubisoft stonks. Ubisoft... Price JPEG... Oh, that's because that's what I was confused because we haven't done an Ubisoft thing for a long time. But yeah, Ubisoft has a pride flag JPEG, which is hilarious, and I use that for thumbnails. Stock price. Got scared for a moment. And there we, by the way, go. It's now back. It's 13. It's 13. It was at 14. Now it's 13. Well, it's kind of stabilized from the all-time lows of 10 effectively, but it's still trash. It's still a massive loss, and that's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Good job, Ubisoft. There's no way they actually come back. They're dead in the water. They're just dead.
It used to get worse, and it keeps on going. So, as I learned with covering the whole Activision Blizzard and Xbox debacle, and of course covering Bethesda's acquisition, I just think sometimes it's best just to watch these things play out and commentate less on them. But it's important you're aware of all that Ubisoft is going through as time goes on. But this last one, I have many thoughts on here. It's another scoop from Insider Gaming saying another wave of Ubisoft Milan employees to leave studio amid strikes. They write another wave of Ubisoft Milan employees will leave the studio at the end of October following the recent RTO or return to office mandates and David Soliani's departure in July. In an internal
That's hilarious. It's absolutely just mind-boggling to me that the average worker thought that they're not gonna have to go back work in the office. You know who's not gonna have to go back work in the office? The bosses. Yeah, they're not gonna have to go work back in the office. Or people of higher stature and whatnot, in the higher positions. The average Granto, right back to the coal shaft.
announcement, it was said that Andrea Babic, who's the narrative director, Salvatore Detrani, who's the senior...
Also, these people are so stupid for leaving because they're like, oh, I don't wanna go back to the office. I'm a game dev. I can do it from home. Well, every studio is pretty much saying, yeah, you have to go to work now. You can't do it from home. And there's a bunch of morons quitting because, oh, they want to still keep working from home. Congratulations. Now you're probably fighting 1 for 1,000 for a single spot of employment that says, yeah, maybe you're going to be able to work from home. That is the dumbest crap ever. But that's exactly how dumb I do honestly think most game devs now in the modern day are, because they're just virtue signaling losers.
Senior 3D artist, Riccardo Stucci, associate lead engine programmer, Matteo Bagatti, expert technical animator, Giacomo Boni, the concept artist, Andrea Giuseppe Castriota, the technical game designer, and Lorenzo Di Simone, the senior quest designer, will be leaving the studio, and Milan currently...
let me give you actual summary of their what their positions are. Actually decent, a literal toilet scrubber, but with a golden star on his on his sleeve. Expert technical animator. Guess what? Someone who sweeps the floors, but isn't allowed to have a broom that's has any that's dangerous because they're an idiot. Concept artist, a literal bum in front of the studio, asking for cigarette buns. One more loser, and that's it. No one of value was lost there.
Has 100 people employed. I would just like to open up before we finish this article by saying this is awful for Ubisoft. Why is this awful? Well, for people like you and me who loved Mario & Rabbids, David Soliana was the guy who was on stage, like, very emotional about this announcement alongside Nintendo. Like, Ubisoft, as we all know, has done a lot of wrong, but they've done a lot of good, in my opinion. This was like one of the best things they did was Mario and Rabbids. In fact, one of my favorite Switch exclusives is Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battles. And I think Sparks of Hope is another phenomenal entry in that series. And when you have the head of that leave, now you're having all the talent that helped make that possible leave. But as you'll notice with some of the titles I read off, a lot of leadership positions, the main head of these projects is gone. Like, this is really bad for Ubisoft because, again, as far as I'm concerned, when I look at the list of games that they've continued to release, you get occasionally like a Prince of Persia Lost Crown that pops up. It's very different from what they do, very high quality, but otherwise, like, I look at Mario and Rabbids as like the last stuff that Ubisoft has put out where I'm like, this feels authentic, new, different, and exciting. And I played them through fully, like 100%, loved them from top to bottom, bought their DLC. It's really good stuff. Like, I really know a lot of people are going to look at it and go, it's a kid's game. Trust me, bro. Trust me, sis. It's that good. I love those games. They are some of the best.
Yeah, of course you do.
Switch exclusives that you can get. So I hope more people check them out. But yeah, the talent for those games are leaving, and that sucks to see. And on top of all of this, Sparks of Hope did not do very well.
Anyone want to actually point out to me a Mario game that was a failure? Because Mario is underrated in how strong of an IP it is.
Because Ubisoft admitted they did not listen to Nintendo and released Sparks of Hope during the holiday period where it was really crammed, and they said they should have waited. So very interesting admission there. But let's finish up this article now that you have a little bit of the lore here. They say those familiar with the changes say some of those leaving are likely to join David Soliana at his new studio, Day 4 Night Studios. Some decided to leave because of the recent return to office mandates that Ubisoft is implementing across all its studios. Sources say that the return to office mandate has been particularly tricky for Ubisoft Milan employees due to the city's high cost of living. When work from home was introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic, many employees moved
no shit, it's Milan, asshole.
From Milan's city center to cheaper places to live comfortably, start families, etc. The resulting RTO mandates...
Okay, you're never going to convince me that anyone French is starting a family.
...have put many employees in uncomfortable positions where they'll again need to turn their lives around, pack up, and move, or risk losing their jobs. Today also marks an 8-hour strike as they report this for Ubisoft Milan, which decided to strike following Ubisoft's decision to mandate stricter RTO policies. Strikes have also occurred at other Ubisoft studios, including Ubisoft Montpellier, Annecy, Lyon, and Paris, with more planning to do so. It's
Sacre bleu! No one cares.
Unclear if the strikes will significantly impact the development of Ubisoft's games.
Probably not, because they're going to be shit no matter what.
Still, sources say strikes will continue if the company is unwilling to work with employees on the issues. You know, usually these things happen like one at a time. Can we just take a moment to say it is unbelievable that at the same time the stock is plummeting, at the same time the sky is falling with Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I'm still pulling for, at the same time as Ubisoft Milan falling out from the bottom, at the same time as all of this occurring, Tencent fully around to be purchased, there's also strikes, they're also being sued potentially. Like, it is unbelievable how much.
Yeah, I mean, every time you hear about Ubisoft, they somehow become more dead. And honestly, I think that's amazing. I think that's great.
Is going south for...
I have no pity for trash.
For this company at once. That's why I said at the start of my coverage of Ubisoft, I said, I am so deeply fascinated by how poisoned the well is, that it is falling apart at the seams, falling apart piece by piece. It's fascinating. It's unbelievable to watch. Like,
motherfuckers acting like we were the ones who poisoned the well. No, Ubisoft did that on their own with their genius decision making.
As someone who's just, you know, I love video games and I love to talk about video games more than the news of video games, but just as like an enthusiast, someone who studies the industry, this is a remarkable collapse that is going to take a lot to come back from. And again, obviously, it's one of those things where things feel a little more extreme as you're watching a company fall apart piece by piece, where certain things like lawsuits get submitted, unfortunately, all the time, and very few do gain traction, especially if they don't have much of a case. That's why I say I'm not much of...
Actually, lawsuits don't get submitted all the time, because if they don't have any, standing at all, there's no point in it. So, yeah.
legal analysis. But if you take that out of the scenario, don't even put any stock into it, you look at everything else that is seemingly happening without trying to come across too rhetorical in the things I'm saying, it's a really bad spot for Ubisoft. And that's not it. We have
too rhetorical? What? Yeah, that sentence didn't mean anything. I just had to Google to make sure, but yeah, that sentence doesn't mean anything.
one more story to go over before we wrap things up here, because ladies and gentlemen, as I'm editing this video, news is breaking about an Assassin's Creed Shadows statue being pulled.
The hell is this lag?
By Pure Arts. For those who don't remember, this is one of the lead.
Oh, he probably rendering bugged out here because the strange log did.
Reasons I started covering what was happening with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and then eventually more broadly Ubisoft, because with Assassin's Creed Shadows there was a lot of insensitive design surrounding the game as well as the marketing for the game.
Insensitive.
And one such thing was a statue that included a broken Torii gate that was similar to the one.
We have talked about this. All of this is hilarious. Did Ubisoft say sorry?
You don't say. We appreciate and have learned from the concerns brought to our attention, and we apologize for the harm this caused. After reading and processing the feedback, we have immediately returned to the drawing board and are currently reworking the design of the Collector's Assassin's Creed Shadows, Yasuke and Naue. Stay tuned. To which, when they were asked about refunds and stuff, they said pre-orders have not been canceled and you'll receive an email soon with more information. So what they're trying.
Oh my god, this is so stupid. Okay, the thing you pre-ordered because you liked it, yeah, we're not selling you that any longer. We're gonna make a different type of thing, but don't worry, you're getting the new one. Doesn't matter if you like it or not. That's so dumb.
Soon with more information. So what they're trying.
Well, anyway, that's everything, I guess. That was Mr. Matty Plays, 10 out of 10. Bye.